Hey, what's up, friends? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Estate and Shit. I am your host, Eric Crumbaker. We are going to dive into some really good stuff today. But first and foremost, be sure to subscribe at the channel below. Leave some comments, good, bad, or ugly. We do not care. We welcome anything. So today, before we get into all of our content, let's introduce our normal guest today. We have Chris Fox. How are you doing, Chris Fox? Woo, woo.
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great, man. Thanks for asking. We missed you last week. Happy to have you back.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we always have the beautiful Sadie.
Chris, I missed you.
I missed you more.
I haven't. If you only watched the podcast, like if you weren't in this office, you'd think I hadn't seen Chris in like a month.
It's true.
That's
Yeah.
They're close. They're
I consent to
buds.
this.
I love it. Well, thanks both of you for coming in today. We got some really cool topics to uncover and go through and destroy. So you guys ready to start destroying some of these topics?
I want to kill him.
Well, this one's not really to destroy, but I definitely want to talk to you guys about this since we're obviously in the shift. We talked about the last 4 or 5 podcasts. If you've been following us, you know exactly. You can just kind of stick on track with us. We're kind of like a good Netflix show. You watch the first episode to 7, and you can understand what we're talking about today. But really closely, did you guys know this? There might be a buyout of Compass. So I ran across this today because I've been researching all the big brokerages and what they're dealing with because they're obviously going through a big transition as well. But headline on Inman today, it says, Compass denies reports of a private equity takeover. So before I read into this, what I know before I read this article, I'll tell you. As a real estate agent in the market, I can see Compass hurting. I know a lot of agents at Compass who are thinking about leaving. I know a lot of agents at Compass that no longer are getting their incentive program that was promised to them. And you can look at their stock. Their stock's down 80% this year. Think about that. They were valued at $8 billion. They're now valued at $1 billion. So a takeover in my mind, theoretically, sounds correct. It sounds like something that would be on the table. Have you guys heard of this at all? Is this new for you as well?
No, but I don't pay much attention to it. But I can only imagine, you know, from my perspective, not wanting to be a part of a big machine. I feel like, you know, intimacy is more important nowadays.
Big time.
You know, and
belly to belly.
Having important relationships and, you know, the quality over quantity. And
you know, it's so funny you said that, Chris. As I read this article right now, and I have to find out where this exact part of the article is, but they said the biggest part that's down in Compass is their tech department. So it goes to exactly, in my opinion, what you're saying. All this money they put into tech and to make things automated and to be able to do this with your clients. You don't have to be there and you can just automate this and automate that. That's what's hurting.
Yeah. And that's what's going to save our industry is the human element.
It's true. No pun intended.
Wait. I think I know a brokerage. No, I don't.
I mean, you, in a real perspective, you're correct.
In a real perspective, a computer can't determine how you make a human feel.
Can't. Computers, that's one thing they lack.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, that's what we do. That's why we're here. So when I read that, it kind of blew me away.
Well, they hired like crazy too. Like during the pandemic, we talked about this before. They just kind of like unloaded. My cousin everyone just started working there.
Everyone worked for Compass.
It's got to suck the machine dry.
It's got to suck. Well, it's sucking the machine dry. The machine is pretty much on empty right now and has
it dry.
You know,
because how many of those agents are actually producing? Because everybody on planet Earth gets their license, gets, you know, under a brokerage, and how many of them actually produce or actually earn their position in that company? That's what I'm curious to know.
And you know, you have a good point, and I actually can say this, that they didn't give the incentive program to all agents. You had to do a certain amount of volume. You had to be a certain person that has a reputation behind you for them to offer you that package. But what I will tell you is everyone who has, and I'm not speaking for everybody because I'm sure someone's watching this and saying, my everything's perfect for me, but from the stories that I've received, that incentive program wasn't what was exactly promised. They promised one thing, delivered something else. Yeah. And when you're a big agent...
That's our industry, though.
Well, that is our industry. But when you're a big agent like yourself, Chris, or Shar, Stacy, Sue, you know, these people that we work with, and you're promised something and you walk in and all of a sudden 6 months into it, they're not even living up to a quarter of what they promised you. I'm like, as a regular agent, I would understand. Yeah. As a top producer, someone who deserves respect... I would be upset. I would be hurt. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this is supposed to be a business transition, not just me working for you guys. Like, we did this together is how I'd feel.
Yeah.
And then if they rip that from me or change anything from me, I would think about leaving. And so what's happening is a lot of agents that are on this incentive program who already got their money, and they're only on a 2-year. So the contract was you had to be with the brokerage for 2 years to keep your money. Well, it's coming on 2 years for all these people. And right now, they're thinking
everybody's jumping ship.
Everyone's jumping ship. Isn't this a nutty thing to to live through in our industry?
I just feel like it wasn't structured properly to begin with. It sounds like I don't know.
I completely agree. I think the incentive program is actually what hurt them. They gave so much money around to get people onto the brokerage, but then the economy shifted, the market shifted, and then they kind of were, you know how they say, when the tide rolls in, you know who's the pants are down type of thing.
Yeah,
it's exactly what happened.
I just think it's backwards. I think you build something that they want to come to that you don't need to pay them to join. I think that
if you think about
they should be paying you to come on board.
Agreed.
But there's like a strata that Compass created because so they.
I don't know anything about
they
them either.
Incentivize.
No, I agree because they're not in our market.
I know what you're saying is that they incentivized and brought on agents, so they're guaranteed this money or whatever. And then there's newer agents who have to pay for like the marketing or their desk fee or things like that. So you have like this weird divide between all the agents, and that can't be good for like the culture in the office.
Agreed.
It probably doesn't make anyone feel like their family or welcome or anything like that. So
yes, you're absolutely right.
There's
absolutely right,
and they're huge. I mean, they just blew up.
And they blew up, and it's crazy. They didn't identify themselves as a brokerage. They actually identified themselves as a tech company.
Yeah, they're like cloud-based.
Yes,
cloud-based.
So
something.
And it goes to the notion of I can pull up numerous articles. All these tech companies in real estate are hurting beyond belief. Open Door, Zillow, Compass, Redfin.
Yeah.
I mean, it is on another level. And it's these tech companies that are losing it. And going back to what you said, Chris, it's going to be the belly to belly, the human contact. Computers can't read humans.
Yeah.
And this is what makes us who we are because we're actually here to service. And I don't feel like these companies actually were in the game to service.
Yeah.
They were in the game to make money.
Yep.
And when like times get hard or things shift, we see it here at least. Like we're all rolling up our sleeves and doing what we can to adjust to the market, do the best for the clients.
Correct.
And it's
I don't
showing,
think they're
the whole
in
corporation
touch.
can't do
I
that.
think there's probably a delay because that the lack of human involvement.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
100%
gives a lag time on what is actually going on, so they can't adjust as quickly.
So, I'm not going to go through this whole article, but I will tell you this, my opinion on this. I don't see one reason why Compass wouldn't sell. They're hurting like a lot of other companies. They're down 80%. So despite that they are debunking the rumors, I bet you in the next 6 months you see a sell of Compass. So we're going to find out. But let's move on. So we got another article. This is another one from Inman. It says it's one hot new strategy to get sellers realistically to price their listings. So I'm going to go through this. Let me tell me what you guys think. Actually, you can just bring that over here. Oh, there's one. Oh, you were giving them one. Cool. Okay. So this is NAR. Oh, sorry. So this is what it says. It says NAR's real estate property resource has added a whole new suite of pricing tools to help you answer the question of how's the market. Is this correct? Okay. So it says with interest rates soaring past 7%, inflation continuing rising, and trillions of dollars of our wealth being wiped out by the stock market, real estate prices may be on the verge of unprecedented freefall. How can you accurately price property in this environment and, more importantly, persuade sellers about the wisdom of lowering their prices now before prices fall even further? It says in the article, I outlined how various automated valuations, It says the tools that you need for today's rapidly shifting market. It says since its inception, NAR has provided realtors with access to their database, allowing them to, I don't know how this really partakes into this story. That's the article. Interesting. Well, I'm just going to go through this article because it doesn't make any sense to me. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to read it to you. Okay.
I love stuff that doesn't make sense.
So it says tools to help you rapidly shifting market for sellers. But it says since its inception, NAR Real Estate Properties Resources, RPR, has provided realtors with access to the nation's largest property database, allowing them to generate beautiful 25 property reports. RPR's Reggae, Nicolay, and Gene Willett joined the recent share of their whole new suite pricing tools and answers to questions. It says AVMs don't tell the whole story. Nichols explained that only rely on AVMs valuations or a CMA does not tell the entire story. RPR's new tool updated app and website now allows you to address these issues in a radius as small as a half a mile from the property. So I'm assuming this is for comps, running comps?
Yeah, and the RPR report gives you the ability to go in and input improvements and the value of that improvement and the date that it was improved. And I don't know how it adjusts the market value for that.
Interesting.
But it does. So if your property baseline, say, is $1 million, but you put a $200,000 or $100,000 kitchen in it in 2017, it factors in that timeline of when it was, to the best of my knowledge, when it was installed and the cost of that, what the depreciation of that time period was, and then what appreciation they would give to that property to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
I use that to go to bat for my properties when on an appraisal. So I think most agents probably show up with a CMA report.
That's exactly what they're saying.
But I do the RPM report or whatever it's called because I put in all the home improvements, what it costs for that improvement, and the date that it was done to help support. I'm always setting records in neighborhoods to achieve a number that doesn't make sense from an appraisal perspective.
Okay.
So generating that report goes to bat for that property, and it does the legwork for the appraiser. It makes his job easier, in my opinion.
And let me ask you a question, Chris. Is this normal procedure? Is this something that all agents are doing, or is this something that you particularly are doing?
I don't know who does it. I know I do it.
It's funny, because obviously this article is an article for a reason, because people aren't doing it. So it's giving advice to agents to help their sellers get the price they're looking for with declining prices or decelerating prices.
Sure.
And I think that's a great idea. I mean, I'm glad we actually spoke about this while you're doing it. So how has this helped you?
It helps a lot because it's kind of a you don't want the appraiser, you don't want to overstep your boundary with the appraiser, and they're the professional, but whatever information, I think they appreciate information.
Okay. Have you seen a difference?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they're very grateful to have that information because it helps make their job easier. I've given them all the information they need to make an accurate assessment.
Agreed.
Or if there's, a justification for why my property is selling $100,000 more than the one next door, well, check out my report. This is why. Okay,
that makes sense. Wow. Okay. So this is obviously a great tool for agents to be using to actually go out to really support the price of the value of a home when you're listing it and to prove it. And then also it helps the appraiser when they're appraising the home when you're entering all this in, because most people just run CMAs and they hand it over to them.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, what's funny, Chris, it blows my mind. It's this type of thing that should just be standard procedure in real estate. And yet again, it's not.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Okay. So going back on the negative side of real estate, because we just talked about Compass possibly being sold out. I'm just going through headlines just so you guys know, everyone, so your viewers know. I go in and I Google a bunch of headlines for real estate, and this is what I get. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the company called Homey. Homey, no. Okay. Homey's another real estate platform, kind of like a Redfin, kind of like all these other tech companies, really big on the East Coast. Homey CEO resigns as... By the way, it's a flat fee brokerage. It's a flat fee brokerage that lays off more workers. And it says the company is among the most prominent of the upstart flat fee brokerage that rose in recent years, but will lose co-founder and CEO Johnny Hanna as the market experiences major turmoil. Says Homey, a once fast-growing flat fee brokerage based in Utah, is reportedly losing the CEO and conducting new layoffs amid a softening real estate market. Johnny co-founded the Homey in 2015 and went on to serve as the company's CEO, departing from the Silicon Slopes Technology Conference near Salt Lake. Hannah Report said that the market has been thrown into turmoil thanks to significant higher mortgage rates, and explained that in addition to his departure, other workers would also be leaving the company. In a statement to Inman Tuesday, Homey confirmed that Hannah had stepped down as CEO and becoming chairman of the board. The statement also noted that Mike, whoever this guy's name is, will step in as interim CEO. As the real estate market continues to shift, Homey was forced to evaluate the current business structure and had to let go 40 team members last week. They only have 300 people on payroll. So
that sucks. Yeah, that really does.
But it goes back to a brokerage that doesn't bring any value. A flat fee brokerage, create an ecosystem that is productive and thriving, and
a flat fee brokerage I understand the meaning, but I wanted to clarify. It means that you're not making commission 2 or 3%. You're making like $5,000 off each sale. Like they just have a flat fee.
The broker just takes a flat fee off the top of the commission. So the brokerage doesn't make any money, so they don't have any. They don't have anything to contribute or put back into the business or the success of that agent.
Correct. So the firm charges homeowners $1,500 per transaction.
What?
Oh, charges.
That's it.
So you get
a flat fee. It's a flat fee to list a property for $1,500.
Okay, I'm backwards. I'm thinking of a flat fee brokerage for agents to go work for.
It's very similar to that because they had agents working for them that were paid on salary. Yes, kind of like a Redfin. The Redfin agent is paid on salary to show property, and this one they charge $1,500. You know what's great about? I love these articles, and when I saw it, I get happy. Not happy because the collapse of the company, and that's not the point of this. I get happy because my heart of all hearts, my soul, what drives me is the real estate concept, what real estate means. And when I see companies like this, it just hurts our industry. It degrades our profession. It makes us look that we should not be, like we are less than what we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, if the opportunity that we have in our industry to make as much money as we want.
Correct.
Really and honestly, like we determine our own paychecks. We can go make millions of dollars a year.
Yes.
Why the fuck would you work for a job that pays you a salary?
You know what?
If you had any skills or talent, would you take a salary to do a position that you could make millions of dollars doing?
So you have to understand, you're correct. They skillfully find people that aren't necessarily going to be outside real estate agents. They find people who are more like telemarketers and more of that side of the business. They're not out showing property. And, you know.
So what do you think their skill level is?
You know what? I'll be honest with you, Chris. I was actually beyond the skill level of the people that I work for the company and more of the vision of the company, because you can't service anyone at a high level. You can't help people. You can't do your job when you are, what's the exact word I'm looking for? When you are scraping the bottom of the barrel and charging $1,500 for a flat fee, trying to do it in a big mass scale where to them probably made financial sense when you made it this big. Yeah. But what that does is it hurts the industry. Because you can't service those sellers at $1,500. You can't take the right pictures. You can't expose the property. You can't handle
photography alone.
Videos. Let's say something goes sour. Let's say you get into a lawsuit. Something doesn't happen the way you're supposed to go through it, and it happens every day in real estate. Well, you only have $1,500 to lean back on for any type of lawyer fees or any type of support. So I just, when I see this kind of thing, as much as it hurts me to see a company fall apart, I feel like they should never have been here to begin with. They were always here to demean the industry and ultimately try to put us out of business. But what they're forgetting is they can't.
Well, I'd imagine they have to operate on such a high volume in order to even survive. Like, what kind of quality service are they providing? What kind of quality outcome are
None.
they
That's why they're going out of business.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and think about the people, those agents. Like, they're clocking in and clocking out. They're not there. I can't say that they're all not there for their clients, but like they're not there because they genuinely care about their clients.
You'd have to imagine that they're not as invested.
They're just like, I'm here from this hour to this hour. Oh, I can show you at this time. Cool. And then they're out. And then
that's it.
They answer their phone when they're back in the office.
It's so true when they're back in the office.
That's like the opposite from what I've seen of.
Yeah, when we're writing checks for thousands of dollars, without the guaranteed of getting paid, we have to perform at a high level.
You got to perform at a high level
to recoup that.
I know. It's very interesting what's going on in the market, which as I just had lunch with another colleague. It's great for us. It's great for our business and our business model because we're not connected to these corporate companies. We don't have these huge tech companies. We're here to service our friends, service our community. Yeah. Yep. And I think our community knows. Yep. And that's why things are, decent in our office. Everyone's happy. We're doing fun things. We're enjoying what we're doing.
More than decent. Yeah.
Oh, they know.
Well, we were on a podcast. I just didn't want to I wasn't trying to
You know what though? I will say update from last week is because we were like literally an hour away from the party. Yeah. We had over 200 people at our event.
We did. It was a great launch party.
Yeah, it was decent.
And it was okay. But the
That's
city,
good.
the city had never seen a ribbon. They couldn't believe how many people showed up
I know.
for ribbon cutting. Like no one showed. I mean,
everybody had the time of their lives.
Yeah, and I've been.
Everyone
was like,
I've been to ribbon cuttings. There's like 5 people and a little one in the corner.
Same.
This was like 11 o'clock. I'm like, okay, well,
what's going on here?
Gotta lock up because I need to go to bed.
Hey, Sue, here's the keys.
Yeah. No, we're like Danny.
Yeah. Danny, here's the keys.
Her husband.
That is so funny.
But yeah, so that's what it's about. Like,
it really is.
That's all that it's about, and you can't do that in the cloud.
You can't, and that's why you're right. Chris said earlier, people are companies are out of touch with this new shift. And it's a guerrilla warfare, and I love guerrilla warfare, so I'm all in. Yeah. It's funny, as we're going down, I'm not trying to do doom and gloom, everyone. I'm just trying to give you guys valid information of what's happening, but it's crazy. Next article, here it is. And actually, this isn't doom and gloom. This is actually a tech company trying to pivot, trying to make sense of what's going on. So I'm really interested in your take, Chris, on this one, and Sadie. So get this, here it is. Redfin, everyone knows Redfin.
Here we go.
Redfin adds down payment assistance feature to its website. So it says, starting Thursday, homeowners can now scout down payment assistance programs on Redfin listings. Thanks to new partnership with Down Payment Resource. It says, as the home prices and mortgage rates continue the rapid ascent, buyers are clamoring over the financial help they can get. With that in mind, Seattle-based online real estate brokerage Redfin has partnered with Down Payment Assistant Resource to display a down payment assistance program in the U.S. for sell listings. Goes on to say, nearly half of Americans who have never owned a home say that saving money for a down payment is the barrier to home ownership. And many young people in particular feel like they're never going to be able to own a home, says Redfin's Chief Growth Officer, Christian Tubman. Down payment assistance programs can make home ownership more obtainable, but information about them is often fragmented and hard to understand. We saw a big opportunity in partnering with Down Payment Resource to raise awareness about these programs to help more people become owners. Eligible listings will display state and local down payment assistance programs underneath the Redfin's payment calculator, which breaks down monthly housing costs. After clicking to see available programs, home buyers can scroll through a list of options to see how much they could receive from each. And it kind of gives me a little bit of example of what it looks like. It says raise Redfin's down payment assistance feature. It says if interested home buyers then are prompted to complete a short questionnaire that asks about their household size, current home ownership status, and annual pre-tax income, alongside other several demographic questions such as their military and disability status. From there, they'll receive a final list of application links to the programs that they're eligible for, and it shows like up to 20,000 here, up to 15,000 here, up to 15,000 here from the New York mortgage, whatever it may be. Interesting. Before I read more in the article, do you have any quick thoughts as I kind of scroll through here?
No, I think it's great. I mean,
I have a great quick thought.
Go for it.
I'm ready. No.
Give it to me. I can't wait.
Redfin is watching our podcast. I'm convinced. We've talked about this like 10 times. Like, if only we could have assistance. If only there's a way for people to learn how they can. Even Carrie was talking about it last week. Like, people don't understand that there's so many options and ways to get help on a down payment. And boom, there we are.
Yeah. I just want to see the criteria, the parameters to qualify. Because my fear is more often than not, the money that is available, like, you have to fit in a very small box, and if you fit in that box, then you don't even qualify to buy a home in that marketplace.
You know, it's funny you said this, Chris. I was talking to my wife's father, my in-laws, the other day, and we're talking about it was his webinar yesterday, actually, with Carrie, which is a great webinar, and he talked about getting loans from banks on a commercial sale, and you have to get 30% down. And Carrie asked, "Can you do anything under 30%?" And he said, "Carrie, banks are banks for a reason. They have the biggest buildings in every city, everywhere around the world, because they don't loan their money out when there's a risk involved." So like you said, you're interested to see what they are, because it actually goes on to say here, just so you know, Chris, it says our research shows that 1 in 3 declined mortgage applications are denied for reasons that could be addressed with homeowners assistance, which underscores a critical need to increase awareness about these life-changing programs. Partnering with Redfin is great to get information about financial support. In addition to adding down payment assistance resources to its website, Redfin says it's working to improve home ownership rates through closing grants, housing counseling sessions, funding for domestic and foreign affordable housing developments, and several other initiatives. So you can see a tech company trying to pivot as much as they can because they're so disconnected from the marketplace. So they're trying to do anything they can to get buyers to come to their website to use and utilize.
Would you say clickbait?
very much clickbait.
That's all Redfin is lately.
Because at any rate, you can go onto Google and you can just write homeowners assistance, and you're going to find a bunch of links that are going to guide you to the places that you need to go. I just think they want people on their website. They need traffic, and their traffic is severely down. My first two thoughts on this is I think it's amazing that they are working on homeowners assistance. I think it should be more of a escrow type website, not a website owned by Redfin or owned by Zillow. It should be more of a independent website that's not owned by a real estate company and by more of a council to make things more fair and even. Because the way I look at it, I'm sure all the programs are more biased to Redfin. They probably have to be. You're in a business deal with them. So this hurts other people. This could, I just feel it should be more on a fair playing ground. But we're living in a world that nothing's fair. So what can you say?
Big media for you.
It's very big media for you. So it's something you guys to look at in the future. This new Redfin assistance, very interesting. I want to know how it goes.
Well, the thing is, if you went to like a real estate agent, like if you went to Chris right now and you're like, hey, I don't have X, Y, and Z. How do I get to a point where I can buy a house? He would connect you with a lender, and then you'd get all this information.
Correct. Correct.
I guess.
You know what? But like you said,
it's
Sadie,
available to anyone.
You work in a real estate office, so you understand that.
Yeah.
It's almost like being on a car lot and selling cars. They understand the lingo. They understand how things work, so they just know it. But most people, like if I buy a car, I'm always sitting there wondering what the hell's going on behind those closed doors. Like, why am I here for 8 hours trying to buy a car right now? Like,
you talk to like 12 managers.
Everyone comes over as a manager and it's the weirdest thing. So in real estate, a lot of people don't understand the process. As easy it is for us, because just so you know, you should be speaking with an agent, especially, you got Chris right here, and they're going to show you the right ways and the right avenues to go through if you need payment assistance. So I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have existed in the previous climate that we're in, because any borrower that needed down payment assistance offer wouldn't have been considered.
True.
So now that we're cooling off a little bit,
agreed,
those products may come
More
into play.
options.
Yes, they do. And then also buying down the rates, asking sellers to
That
participate.
3-2-1, that 2-1.
Yeah. And it's working.
That's bridging the gap right now. That's saving.
It's saving us. I'm literally in an encounter right now on a property that we're trying to purchase, and we asked the seller to buy down our rate, and we're in encounter right now trying to see how much of the rate they're willing to buy down. It's fallen out of escrow twice, because right now 35% of escrows are falling out, so it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And again, these sellers, if they want to play ball, they have to play ball. Yeah. It's very interesting. Okay, so moving on. Next article, and this is we're getting kind of close to the end. This article, it's actually from KCM. It says 2 questions, and I'm interested to know if you guys can answer these. 2 questions every home buyer should be asking themselves right now. So before I get into it, Sadie, what's 2 questions a home buyer should be asking themselves right now? Big picture questions.
I'm thinking about rates. All I think about is rates, but can I afford a house if the rates go up?
Not far.
0.5%?
You're on the right track. Okay. First question they say every home buyer should be asking themselves right now is, where do I think home prices are heading?
Oh.
Very interesting. So it says there are 2 places to turn to answer this question. First is the consensus of what experts are saying, which is always probably pretty smart. It says if you look at what experts are projecting for home prices in 2023, they're forecasting home prices appreciation around 2%. While it's true, some are also calling for depreciation. Most are calling for an appreciation in home values over the next year in 2023. The second spot to turn for some information is home price expectation surveys from, I can't pronounce the company, a survey of a national panel of over 100 economists, real estate experts, and investment and market strategists. According to the latest release, the experts surveyed are also calling for home prices to appreciate for the next several years. And it actually shows the rate. So 2022, wow, home prices rose 10%. Great. 2023, they're projecting, and this is over 100 economists, market experts, and people in real estate. 2023, 2.56%. 2024, 2.66%. 2025, 3.66%. And 2026, 4%. You know what? And number 2, it says, where do I think interest rates are heading? So those are the 2 questions. So I'm going to answer in my opinion before I get both of your opinions. I don't care. I mean, I just don't care. And the reason I don't care is because I'm looking at appreciation 2.5, 2.6, 3.64 over the next 4 years. I don't even look at the appreciation. What I'm looking for is the equity that I'm putting in my house. What I'm looking for is that I'm not paying rent. What I'm looking for is that I know eventually this home could be possibly paid off of. What I'm looking at is that I know in 3 years when this home goes up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15% over the next 4 or 5 years, I'm able to leverage that 15% of my home and buy another home. And also what this does for me is when I'm looking for other investment strategies or I'm trying to get into business, people want to know your list of assets. When you have a list of assets, that matters. Yeah. People can leverage against that as well. So when I see this, it doesn't matter to me. And when I see interest rates, I don't care about those either. And it's not because I'm just some guy who doesn't care about interest rates. No.
You got a broader perspective.
I have a broader perspective. And if you actually do what's funny, Chris? Carrie and I were doing the different rates between 5 and 6% on the home that we're looking to purchase. It's $700 difference. $700 difference. Yeah. I think everyone spends $700 a month in just waste. It's just, let's be honest, lunches, shoes, whatever it may be, it's not killer. It's not a deal breaker. Yeah. So when I look at interest rates, knowing where they are now, I'll take that interest rate all day, knowing I can refinance later. I can have a rate. I can buy it down. But the bigger thing is what I'm gaining on the value of the property and owning it. I mean, are these two questions that you guys think are important right now for buyers?
I think the biggest question is how creative are banks going to get to continue lending money?
Yeah, good point, Chris.
I feel like the banks aren't going to stop doing what they do for a living because rates went up.
True.
They're going to find solutions. They're going to get creative, and they're going to make it affordable for the buyers regardless of what, rates are.
Correct.
So my question is what kind of products are we going to see?
Yeah, it's time for some new products or some old products being refurbished.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I completely. I mean, the arm. Well, yeah, as long as I've been in real estate since 2012, I haven't used anything with an arm. I haven't needed to. Yeah. So these programs are now being brought in, and it's nice to have them again. The bottom line of this article, it says, if you're thinking about buying a home, ask yourself about the home prices and mortgage rates will help you make a powerful and confident decision. Experts see both prices and rates rising in the future. The alternative is to rent, but rents are also increasing. That may mean buying a home may make more sense than renting.
Buying a home always makes more sense than for the most part.
Of course, always does. Yeah. It always does. And it's funny. I'm gonna end on this article today, and this will be a quick one, but I'm going to end on this. This is also from a KCM, and I like this. It says long-term benefits of owning a property. It's funny how these things just kind of spill into each other. And it says today's Cohen housing market, the rise in mortgage rates, and mounting economic concerns have some people questioning, should I buy a home this year? While it's true this year has unique challenges for home buyers, it's important to factor the long-term benefits of owning home ownership into your decision like we've been talking about. Consider this. If you know people who bought a home 5, 10, or 30 years ago, you're probably going to have a hard time finding someone who regrets their decision. That's so true.
Most likely.
I don't know anyone who ever told me they regretted buying a home. That's actually a very, very interesting thing that not many people talk about.
Yeah, they might not want to live in that home anymore, and if that's the case, call us up. But they never regretted buying a home.
Yeah, and it says, why is that? The reason is tied to how much gain in equity and wealth a home grows over time. It says home equity gains are built up through a price appreciation and paying off the mortgage through principal payments. And then it says, it talks about percent change in home prices over the next 5 years, and actually shows California, you ready for this? As a whole, 63% in value in the next 5 years. I can see that with population and everything happening. It says if you look at the percentage of home prices, you can see home prices grew an average of 64% nationwide over that period. Wow. 63% over 5 years. I mean, if you're renting right now, this should be just slapping you in the face saying, what do I need to do to save enough money a month to put a down payment down? Go FHA. Now's a great time to go FHA. I'm telling you, no one's going to care. They just want their home sold.
Yep.
So it says, bottom line, it says, don't let the shifting market delay your dreams. Data shows home values typically appreciate over time, and that gives your net worth a nice boost. If you're ready to start the journey of a home ownership, let's connect today with Chris Fox. Wow.
Do you work with KCM
Did you
now?
work with?
I paid extra for that.
I don't know how that was added
sold
in
by
there.
Fox is just
Holy
tagged at the bottom.
smokes. But what do you, I mean, let's, in an honest, true
I can't help but
format.
think for the people that overpaid, right before the mortgage crisis.
Correct.
What they paid for their house and what it's worth now. For those that did not short sell, those that,
correct,
were comfortable and stuck it out.
They
asked them if they regret buying at the peak back then today.
Correct.
Call my parents.
Ask them.
Well, you know,
They
I have a buddy. He owns a place over in Upland. Not a place. He owns a company over in Upland, a restaurant. And we sold him a property at the height. He wanted to buy his family and rancho, bought it at the height. A couple years ago, I was talking to him, and he was like, you know, my home's worth like 50 to like 100 over what I bought back in 2006. He's like, so it's not like great. He's like, but you know, it is great. Our home's paid off. Boom. Like,
you know, it is great that they remain having a home for their family and created memories.
And they were
moving and renting and being
Wealth.
shuffled around. And
why has this been forgotten? Where in our society has this just not connected with people? Like, where is
everybody
the disconnect?
thinks they're an investor. Everybody's, you know, being analytical about the numbers. They're not thinking about the home component when buying a house.
You're
buying
right.
a home.
The intangibles.
Yeah.
Quality
It's
of
true.
life. You always say that, Chris.
Quality of life is very important. People don't put a number on quality of life, and they should.
100%.
You know who else it's important to?
Who?
Your freaking kids.
Man.
Moving sucks when you're a little kid.
Sucks.
Like, that's the worst thing ever.
And
we moved, but we were in the ghetto, so I'm kind of glad we moved. But otherwise, sucks.
But I want my children to come back to their bedrooms with my grandchildren, you know?
True.
I want, like, those things are important to me. I get all mushy about this, but
No, Chris, this is why you are who you are. This is why you're able to service so many people, and this is why people love you and want to continue to work with you, because this is who you are. You care deeply about things that most people just look over. You've got a heart of all hearts. You look out for your clients, you look out for your team, you look out for your family, and it just radiates through you.
I appreciate
so I'm not surprised.
Nope.
That's important to you.
And it's important. I feel like it's important to all of us. But
it really is.
It's like a emblem for. That's why everyone that you work with is just your friend or someone you met at the river. Like,
correct.
You're not pulling anyone from like Zillow or anything.
Yeah.
I know that's a bad thing.
No,
but
it's true.
That just shows.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
You're a connector. I love it.
I love people, and I care about their journey. So
yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to be a part of the journey. Yeah. Well, both of you, that was the last of our articles today. Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate and Shit. We have Sadie and Chris. Sadie, thank you very much. Beautiful Sadie. Say bye to Sadie.
Bye.
And then also we have wonderful Chris Fox. Chris, we're departing. We're off. Our ship's departing.
See you next Thursday.
I'll see you next Thursday.
Wow.
So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you got a lot out of it. Leave some comments below. If you have any arguments or thoughts that you guys have, please leave them below. We will respond to those as time comes, and we look forward to responding to those. And we also look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys all next week. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.